have some fun, come on, bring it on con el sofrito. Latinos arriba, bienvenidos.
Now the heat is on, cause we in the zone, métele al ritmo.
Si tú eres un Urban Latino,
Mi gente la esquina, ahora métele sazón. Mi gente la esquina, Urban Latino con sabor. Who's in the house?
my Latino people,
Who's in the house?
Urban Latino,
Who's in the house?
my Latino people,
Who's in the house?
Urban Latino.
What's up, guys? I'm Lattice. Welcome to the special Urban Latino, where we examine the culture and lifestyle of the American Latino. From urban fashion to Spanish hip-hop, today's new generation of Latinos are redefining what it means to be Latino in America, enjoying the best of both worlds by embracing a bicultural lifestyle. Join us now as we take a look at the vast Latino experience, starting with the urban car culture. Check it out.
Mexican lowriders first appeared in LA back in the 1940s. Young Chicanos with very little money purchased old cars and customized them, putting their own personal and unique stamp. Today, they remain an important symbol of Mexican-American identity. Elite is one of numerous lowrider clubs across the nation, which exhibits its cars in national parades and car shows. Mario de Alba is the founder of the prominent LA group.
The car shows, but also on the street, to cruise on the boulevards, and to the picnics from other car clubs that invite us, and to local car shows, and anywhere we can go when we can with them, because that's what they're for, to drive and show them to the public and to the people. Because we put a lot of time and effort into our cars, a lot of time into making to look to the best and to try to be, up there with the best clubs.
The Chicanos Car Club is a newer club with active chapters in both Rhode Island and New York. Now, what does it take to be a member of the Chicanos Car Club?
Just to have a clean ride. We require, to have a clean paint job. Hydraulics is a must, and we roll on 13-inch wires.
Now, do you have to be a Chicano to be a member of the club?
A lot of people ask that question, and our answer is no. You don't have to be Chicano. You don't have to be Mexican.
Just have to have a nice ride.
Just requires for you to have a nice ride. Tradition is the kind of style that we try to keep. You see most of the cars we have are Impalas.
Spectacular paint jobs, luxurious interiors, and etched windows are some lowrider distinguishing characteristics. But hydraulics are the most common feature, allowing car owners to tilt, bounce, dance, and even lower their cars. You got the hydraulics hiding
The back, that's where we have the hydraulics, what makes the car go up and down. And as you can see, it has a two-pump setup. Well, the two-pump setup, one pump is for the front, the other pump is for the back. Some owners, just want to have like a simple setup, don't want to hit really switches, but, just want to have that front, back, side-to-side movement. Other guys, want to hit three-wheel.
But can all this bouncing have a damaging effect?
If it's not properly reinforced, can break. All of the vehicles we work on, we outfit them with extra sheet metal, strap metal, so that way they can withstand impact.
For the owners, these are not just cars, but works of art that reflect their individual personalities as well as their heritage. But assembling a lowrider is a huge commitment that requires a lot of money and hard work.
By the time this car is finished, it should be worth the estimated value about $70,000. But since we're putting a lot of our own labor, we should be able to get away with putting about $25,000 of our own money.
What year is this car right here?
This is 1962.
All right.
And I bought it like 3 years ago, and I've been hooked it up.
So when you got it, it definitely didn't look like this?
No, definitely was another car. If you see a picture before, you would never recognize it.
Now, how hard was it to find all these parts you have in here?
Some of them, they are really difficult to find.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you have to order it.
This is a 1963 Impala two-door hardtop. Okay. And when I got the car, it didn't have a door, no front. Took me a while to find the parts.
Talk to us about the interior.
Well, the interior, I took the car to some friends that we have in Rhode Island.
Okay.
I like it, I like things different. I don't want to be
the same, right?
The same.
Gotta be unique.
Yeah, I gotta be unique.
And the specialty in this one is my favorite. It bounces.
Your boss, baby.
From Mexican lowriders to today's growing import scene, cars have always been a big part of urban youth culture. Victor Carrillo is the general manager of CEC Wheels LA showroom, a leader in European car accessories.
Los Angeles has a good car culture, so I've been around it since I was a little kid. My father was into it, my brothers, we all got into it. Back then it was a little bit more low riding. From there, the whole scene was changing, and the import scene was coming up. It's gone all the way from 64 Impalas to, Civic SIs to what we have here, CL 600s, Volkswagen Jettas, and BMW M3s.
At CEC, you'll find all the most popular car performance parts and accessories to help achieve that customized modern look.
CEC specializes in German cars, but we do all German cars. One of the most popular is the Volkswagen brand, simply because of affordability. We have a nice painted grille right here and front bumper. We have the rear bumper, the lower piece, and the Edinger exhaust. So once again, the Edinger exhaust looks a lot better than the factory, but you're getting better horsepower. One of the custom things we do here at CEC is custom leather work. We put the red trim in here to really bring out the accents and to really build on the M3 model itself. We've got some interior treatment with the wood kit, but the most important thing on the interior is you gotta have your TVs with your DVD.
But just like lowriders, rims remain the focal point when customizing a car.
Latinos here in Los Angeles, what they really want, what the big thing is always the rims, you know, and that's really what changes the look of the vehicle the most. AC Schnitzer, made in Germany exclusively for BMW. And Terra wheels are made in Italy, and this is our #1 brand of wheels because they fit everything. It's part of the culture. Cars, fashion, music, hip hop, it all ties into one thing. So if you're gonna take pride in the gear that you're wearing and in the music you're listening to, the kind of food you're eating, it's gonna be, you know, your car and the way your car looks too.
Going to a barbershop these days means a lot more than just getting a simple trim, as today's new breed of Latino barbers not only serve up the latest cuts, but are giving their Urban Latino clientele a little something extra.
Mr. Luis is the real thing. Originally from Cuba, he's been in the business of cutting hair for over 40 years.
Another satisfied customer. Thank you, sir, and I see you again. Take care. Barber never die. Barber is very important because without barber, you know, the people, they're going to look ugly. Hair all over the body, you know. It's not good. They don't look good without the barber.
But a lot has changed in the barber profession in recent years.
Yeah, it was different. It was no square back, no round, no skin. Everything was natural back, taper, you know. Now they got a skin fade, you know. They clean the front too, because before they don't do that, you know. They have a natural, you know. Now they like to clean it. Now everything is with machine too, you know. Before was everything by scissor, you know. Scissor and a comb. Yeah, changed a little bit.
Today's barbers are a lot younger and much more in tune with the latest styles and trends. George Lampine is the owner of a barbershop in Corona, Queens.
The barbershop, there's a culture I'm trying to bring in there. All the young barbers now, they do braids. There's money in being a barber. Nowadays, kids feel more comfortable going to a guy who's related to him. They know what kind of style cut people want.
The next loss.
It's hard to find a good barber, you know? When you have a good barber, you know, that cuts the way you like it. You know, you walk out here feeling good. Eric's been my barber for about 5-6 years now. For those 5-6 years, you've been cutting my hair the way I like it.
When I first started cutting hair out here in West Palm Beach, Florida, there wasn't a lot of young Latino barbers. So it's definitely evolved.
These barbers are tapped into the urban hip-hop scene, and as a result, are drawing younger clients away from viejitos or old-timers like Mr. Luis.
All I know that I used to get my cut by viejito.
By viejito, me too. The viejitos are used to doing regular cuts. A lot of the cuts now are fades, tape-ups, and they're not into that because that's the new style now. Back in the days, it was like D8 cuts, scissor cut, everything. The young took over because of the new style.
They come in here and, you know, not only do they want to get a haircut, but they also want to know what's the latest style, maybe what's the latest video out. They'll come in here, they'll sit down and they'll be like, hey, I want the same haircut that Jay-Z has, or I want the same haircut I seen P. Diddy with, or Usher, you know? So it's real crucial that these barbers stay up on exactly what's going on. More than anything, it's more like a culture. It's a lifestyle.
I often get a haircut about once a week. I spend about $60 a month haircuts. I'll probably be spending a little bit more now that I'll be bringing little man over here.
And these young Latino barbers offer their clientele a lot more than haircuts. George has opened up a store next door to his barbershop that sells records and urban clothing gear, which helps to attract more customers.
This could be a waiting room, or that could be a waiting room. Not only are they tying together, I try to make it like a one-stop.
Attached to Edwin and Gilbert's barbershop, Extremes, you will find a car performance shop that sells rims, radios, and just about everything else that appeals to their clientele.
You know, you could have your car hooked up back there where you know, get a cut, get lace, your braids or whatever, shape up, you know, listen to music, watch TV up, play some games. We got everything. You come over here, you got to get something, man. You got to buy something.
By catering to their urban clientele, today's new breed of barbers have moved beyond merely cutting hair and are proven to be smart, resourceful businessmen.
We're young, and people don't expect us to do good. A lot of people don't expect us to do good. They look at us, oh, young people are failures, you know? So we have a lot to prove now to the older people.
Older barbers will never go out of style because it's just like anything. You know, the teacher is always going to teach a student, and the way I look at it, we're all students right now. So older barber will never die. You know, the barber will never die.
When it comes to fashion, clothes often make a statement on a person's individual style. For many urban Latinos, they can also be a statement of cultural pride.
Designed to keep cool in the sweltering heat, guayaberas are the quintessential Latino male shirt. Commonly worn by old-timers, this traditional style has become increasingly popular among younger generations.
I've always been into the Latin style, you know, going back to the 50s and 60s, especially like Ricky Ricardo, you know, and Lucy and stuff like that. I just have a passion for old style fashion.
I've been forced by my wife to wear them, you know, because I married a Puerto Rican, you know, being a foreigner, so it's a good thing, you know. I'm trying to blend in with the culture.
It helps me get in touch with my roots because it's representative of Cuba. Plus, my mom likes to see me wear it.
It makes me feel like I'm part of my heritage, something like my grandfather used to wear.
I'm here in Union City, New Jersey at El Guaralú. And if you're looking for a guayabera, this is the place to find it. Now we're here with Victor at El Guaralú. Now Victor, tell us a little bit about the guayaberas. Where does it come from? Is it a Cuban thing?
Well, if you ask a Cuban, it's Cuban.
It's Cuban.
If you ask Mexicans, it's from Mexico. Cubans say the guayaberas were used for picking guavas, to put them in the pockets. Others say it was used to cut sugarcane as a uniform. You wore guayabera and a machete, cut down the sugarcane.
Now, if you want to come buy guayaberas, what do I look for?
The classic is a 4-pocket pleated, like you see here. This is poly cotton. You can wear it like this, spread collar. This is linen, a regular collar. And the true guayabera has 3 pleats in the back.
Now, who are your customers? Do you have young people? Do you have older people? Is it just Latinos?
No, we've been getting a nice mix. It used to be an older Latino customer. Now it's younger Latino, Americans, everybody across the spectrum.
Many retail chains and designers have also begun to carry guayaberas in their stores. And these unique tops are no longer just for men. Viva la Guayabera in Miami, Florida is a store that specializes in guayaberas for women. I'm here with Victoria Varela, and before we even get into anything, Victoria, how did you get into this business of making guayaberas?
Well, I found that there weren't any attractive ladies' dresses in the guayabera tradition. Guayaberas are very male-oriented, and I wanted to make something feminine, pleasing to the figure and to the aesthetic for women.
This one-of-a-kind store also sells baby clothes, t-shirts, even aprons, all in the guayabera tradition. Amrula Gazi Rodriguez. Eat your heart out, arroz con pollo style. Putting a new take on a timeless classic, guayaberas are a Latin tradition that will never go out of style. Nestwear is an urban clothing company started by Jose Milan, an ambitious entrepreneur from Queens, New York.
Nest started out back 3 years ago, and since then, it's just been elevating nonstop.
And what does Nest mean?
Nothing ever stays the same. It came from promoting clubs, decided to do a logo, and came up with the name. We all just felt it, and since then, we've just been pushing it.
Jose put the logo on shirts, which sold in large quantities from his house. That led him to create his own clothing line that today includes jeans, kids wear, even clothes for women. With stores in Corona and Woodside, Queens, Nestwear's street-inspired designs are extremely popular with the younger, largely Latino clientele.
We have all the elements, all the street elements, everything that's us. Dressing ourselves up, dressing you up. Our Latin flavor.
You design your own thing, or you have somebody designing it?
We all participate in the designing, a lot of the artwork. We have one main artist, in-house artist. His name is Jose Nunez, also known as Cello. We have artists from all over, Queens, Brooklyn, the Bronx.
Building upon the success of Nestwear, the savvy businessman continues to seek out new opportunities. He has expanded the clothing line, offering the higher-end Fame New York.
It's the upscale of the whole Nest thing.
And that's more for like dressy stuff, right?
Right.
Go out to clubs, you want to get your jiggy on, you put on Fame. You want to hang out on the streets and just hang out with the boys, and you put on the Nest.
We got you covered.
Jose has also opened up a barbershop next door to one of his stores. How convenient is it for you to have the barbershop right next to the clothing store?
Can't be more convenient than this. Right after they get their cut, next thing they want a cap or to dress up. What they're gonna wear tonight. Right next door. While they're waiting for their cut, they go next door.
Staying true to the streets that raised him, this local figure is reaching out to his community, giving jobs to many young Latinos in the neighborhood.
All the barbers from here, this guy's from the neighborhood. To keep them working, keep them right here, right at home. Somewhere where we all can keep an eye on each other, help each other out.
Right, that's good. So you're always looking out for the community. You always got to bring back to the people that brought you here, made you successful.
Never forget where you come from.
I'm Cecilia de Bocourt, and I'm from Argentina. I'm a designer.
My name is Rafael Jimenez, and I am the founder of Republica Trading Company.
My line consists mostly in dresses, skirts, and tops for women between ages of, I would say, 15 and 40.
Some of our most popular items are t-shirts and hats, which have always been the Republica staples. We've evolved into like a full collection just for men.
I have always a rule. It has to look feminine when you move, and it has to be flowy. There's a lot of like detail-oriented, like a lot of hand cut and painted and tie-dye. It's almost like a basic dancing line that I have.
We're influenced by Latin culture first and foremost. We've got a little bit of an urban influence. So you can find guayaberas in our line, and you can find perforated lambskin jackets like the one that I'm wearing right now. We have a little bit of everything.
I always wanted to do something on my own instead of working for someone else. I started modeling when I was so young. I was 14. My mother was a model back in Argentina. I started like helping photographers to do their shoots. And then I said, oh my God, I like this. I like to be behind the camera. So then is when I decided to go to FIT. I think like a month after I started school, I started my line. In Argentina, like in Latin America, we are very used to knit and do things with our hands since very early age. Actually, how I started is knitting, like making scarves, everything I could do by myself with my hands, little by little, without even really paying attention. I started making clothes to be able to dance.
My parents always managed businesses, so I was always around that. And I knew that I one day would want to work for myself. I just had no idea that this was going to be it. Basically, I had a friend who was a silk screener, so she made a dozen t-shirts for me. And I put 11 in a knapsack, and I put one in a hanger, and I started walking around my neighborhood, and I sold a dozen t-shirts in 20 minutes for $20 a shirt. I invested it into a Spanish dictionary, and finally I got to R, and I came across the word República. I'm really proud to be, you know, Dominican-American, and I kind of embrace both. Somebody mentioned to me, I was like, oh, wow, yeah. They call Santo Domingo La República. I wish that would have been, because it would have been easier. It would have saved me 40 bucks on a dictionary. And then we started doing sweatshirts, and then we started doing hats, and then we dropped the catalog, and then we dropped the website.
When I started my dream, I said to myself, okay, what's your dream, Cecilia? Where do you want to sell? And it was Barney's. Just called them for like 3 months. Almost every day. I just got them to call me back at the end. And now they're my biggest client, I would say, and they keep on ordering and ordering. And from there, of course, I went to smaller stores, like in Soho, even Miami, LA, Chicago, San Francisco. So I sell in all these like trendy spots.
We were at the airport, and there was this girl sitting across from us. And it turns out that she was an assistant buyer for Federated, which owns Bloomingdale's. One person led me to one person who led me to another person. They came and saw the stuff, and they fell in love with our tees, and they fell in love with our graffiti caps, which are all hand art. After the first week, they were almost sold out. And now we're trying to get to another level, and slowly but surely we are.
What I'm trying to get is like people, one day, if I get like bigger and known, that they see a garment and say, oh, that is so Cecilia de Bocourt, you know?
The next step, I think, in the next year or two will probably be a women's line.
My advice for young Latino designers is just go for it, do it, don't be scared.
Follow through, be professional, and and do it 100%.
So, never give up. That's it.
Founded in 1989, Yak Pack is one of the nation's leading designers of urban-oriented bags. With trend-setting styles that combine fashion with durability, the New York-based company is credited with marketing some of the very first DJ bags. Rolando Cohen, a native of El Salvador, is one of the company's founders. Now, what does Yak Pack stand for?
Well, Yak Pack really was brought up by both my partner and I. He was traveling in Tibet, and the yak is the actual national animal of Tibet. And the logo is actually the hoof, but the original concept came from the uniqueness of this environment. Yak Pack is very much about urban lifestyles. So we try to focus the bags so that they're specific to what people have. We'll have DJ bags, we'll have tag bags, we'll have laptop bags, we'll have messenger bags, we'll have all sorts of very nature-specific bags that gear to what people do in the city.
Out of all those different styles, what's your best seller?
In general, they sell mostly to women. It's a combination thing. You can go out clubbing, but it also fit a small laptop. That's really one of our best sellers. Our new Japanese fighting fish are also doing extremely well. And then for the guys, it's sort of the larger, either the DJ bag. That one sells very, very well. And our new sort of DJ crate is selling extremely well.
In addition to the Yak Pack brand, the company also designs, produces, and markets all the bags for both Dickies and Levi's.
We were sort of doing our own thing, putting it into the right stores, the Urban Outfitters, the small shops everywhere, and Dickies came to us. We basically asked them for the license and sort of worked it out, and then Levi's came around in '99. They saw what we were doing with Dickies, what we were doing with our stuff, and sort of made us the same offer, and so we got involved with them, and both have done extremely well for us.
Being that you guys are involved with Dickies and Levi's, how do you guys maintain the Yak Pack look?
Well, first of all, it's a religious pursuit to make it extremely different.
Right.
Because the minute that you try to put them together, then you've completely lost all authenticity.
Right.
So what we do is we have a head designer for Yak Pack, a head designer for Dickies, head designer for Levi's, and each one attaches to a specific trend that is going on, but doesn't cross over to the trends.
With the long-standing success of Yak Pack, the company has evolved from designing bags and are now branching off to musician bags, clothing, and footwear. What's next for Yak Pack?
Well, we have the footwear that we've been doing for about 6 or 9 months. It's been doing phenomenal in terms of press and advertising, placing it in the right stores. We have a license in Japan that is completely broad in all sorts of products. They have clothing, they have children's wear, they have watches, and we'll be bringing some of that down here. So it's sort of expanding and growing the line as long as it maintains within the true nature of what we originally intended it to be.
So you got Yak Pack the book bags, you got Yak Pack the sneakers, Yak Pack the watches, and Yak Pack is going to take over.
Hi everybody, it's Trisha Cruz and I'm coming to you from the heart of Los Angeles, California. I'm standing here in front of the Blue Demon store on the Melrose Strip. This place carries the most unique t-shirts, bags, and one-of-a-kind finds. And everyone from Alejandra Guzman to Mary J. Blige gets their clothes here. So let's go inside and check it out and find the owner and see if we can't find ourselves some cool clothes.
Hola, Miguel Garcia. This is Blue Demon.
And I want you to show me all around, okay?
Sure, let's go check it out. I got started in the fashion business about 9 years ago in Mexico City. Been having stores for the last 9 years. I got here because I was buying the stuff for my stores in Mexico. We rented a place to put the stuff in, and all the designers from Mexico wanted their stuff in here, and it was an accident, actually. And I love Los Angeles. I love the whole mixed culture, everything, you know.
Miguel named the store Blue Demon after one of Mexico's most popular wrestlers.
To me, I wanted people that were from Mexico walking on Melrose to see that I was representing. A lot of people would walk on the street and, Demon, he's using that word. And I was like, no, it's a wrestler. And so they would ask more and they would see the mask. It was like a little game. There's a Latin flavor in the store. It's totally influenced by the Latin, countries and stuff. It's got the Latin flavor that makes it special. And I think people are digging it. I mean, people are really into the Latin thing.
With its unique vintage designs and cutting-edge streetwear, this Melrose clothing store is a popular stop for fashion-forward shoppers seeking a funkier look.
I'm gonna try to fit you in some of those reconstructed jeans. They're like 5 different jeans.
4 or 5 different jeans in one?
Yeah,
that is so cool.
We're not afraid of having people copying this because we want to be forward all the time. And actually it makes us happy. Sometimes we make it really stupid looking to see if they copy it, and they do it anyway. As long as they feel comfortable wearing it, it's all good. It's all about fun.
But the fun doesn't stop there. The shop also sells a wide assortment of wrestling masks, which are a top seller, especially among the younger Latino clientele.
I didn't know that we were going to sell so many wrestling masks in the store. Everybody comes out with a wrestling mask. I think when they take a mask, they take a part of the store. That means that they're representing. Maybe they won't find anything their size. Maybe they're not too crazy to wear it. But I think they want to support the store and they want to, take some home to show and brag about the store or something. That's how I like to think about it.
Spanglish is the practice of mixing English and Spanish words together. It started out as a slang, but for many young Latinos, it is quickly becoming the language of choice. Vamos a ver.
If you've tuned into Spanish radio lately, you may have noticed a lot of switching back and forth between English and Spanish.
El que la realmente sepa cómo tratarla. El soulmate. Smells like something fishy going around.
Luis Jimenez and Moonshadow are 2 popular radio show personalities on New York's top-rated Spanish-language station, La Mega, one of countless radio stations weaving Spanglish into their formats.
That's the way Latinos in New York learn to eventually speak. We figure that's the way to talk, so we sound like them.
The use of Spanglish is almost second nature to Latinos across the nation. From these high school students in Spanish Harlem
We got like the word hanging out. We're like, vamos a janguear.
Chileando, that means chilling.
to these Chicanos in LA.
Instead of saying that's pretty cool, they say, that's pretty firme.
Being Chicano, I'll probably speak more Spanglish. I don't speak Spanish fluently, so it's more Spanglish that I speak.
It's a phenomenon that if you're a Spanish speaker seems natural, but experts have a fancy name for it.
The term that we use in the textbooks for it is code switching, and it can be going back and forth from one language to the other, between sentences or even within a sentence.
Dictionary of bilingual words. At noon you go and you lonchea. Lonchea es to have lunch, almorzar. Vacuum cleaner. El vacuum cleaner. Yeah. That's the vacuum cleaner, of course.
Ed Morales, who has written a book called Living in Spanglish, says this new dialect is a perfect symbol for Latinos.
Spanglish is like one of the most obvious ways that we live a multicultural or bicultural lifestyle, because we think in both languages, and sometimes only a Spanish word can really express what we feel.
But language purists shake their heads at the thought that Spanglish could become the norm.
It's not the future. It's necessary good English and good Spanish.
Give me a break, come on. Dame un break.
Still, linguists say change is inevitable.
One of the interesting things is that, of course, kids are going to be the great linguistic innovators. They're going to be the ones that bring new words into a language. So, of course, the contact with Latinos in New York or Mexican Americans in LA, that's got to have a great impact on the language.
So why fight it, says Morales? Embrace Spanglish and be proud.
We are learning both languages well, and so I think now is the time to play with that and to mix, because we're not about to give it up. Our society is moving towards, mixing influences and not just staying in one narrow definition of what we can be as people. I think that's what the 21st century is all about.
Used to be that books written by Latinos were hard to find. Today, emerging new writers such as Juno Diaz are featured prominently in bookstores everywhere. And it's inspiring a whole new generation of urban Latinos to read.
Puerto Rican poet Willie Perdomo knows the power of the written word.
We never see how the rich really live, with gardens in the middle of the avenue and doormen hailing taxis for poodles in the rain.
As a troubled teen growing up in East Harlem, Willie turned to writing as a way to redirect his anger and express his pain and struggle.
It took a poet to tell me, you can't get into fights, man, because you're gonna get thrown out of school. And down the line, as an adult, you're gonna get arrested, you know what I mean? So you gotta do something else with this energy. I have been trying to write poems about, things that I knew nothing about, like love poems and, which he didn't discourage, but he did say, take a closer look at your mom when she's cooking her rice and beans. Make a list of what you hear and see when you're walking from 122nd Street to 125th Street. And there was a lot.
My muses are calling, baby. I got to go.
Latinos have long drawn from their rich heritage to tell stories that reflect their unique cultural experiences, though they haven't always found their way onto the pages of American literature.
I became a writer out of frustration. I became a writer out of feeling completely left out.
B.D. Thomas was among the first authors to depict the realities of Latino life in America in his 1967 literary classic, Down These Mean Streets. Today, a new wave of Latino authors are helping chronicle the U.S. Latino experience, inspiring a whole new generation of bilingual readers. Sergio Troncoso is the author of The Last Tortilla and is a rising Chicano author.
The Last Tortilla, it's 12 stories, and most of them are set in El Paso or Isleta, right on the Mexican border. I think if you're a young Latino and you're reading my stories, you'll see yourself in these stories and you'll maybe learn a little bit about how you could overcome your own struggles.
Juno Diaz, author of the national bestseller Drown, agrees it's important for young Latino readers to see their lives reflected on the page.
I wasn't taught any of our stories, and I think that it's and it shapes the way you view yourself. And I feel like Drown and other books like Nelly Rosario's book and Angie Cruz's book provide these springboards, these openings where young people could see themselves and they can talk about their experience.
Though getting younger audiences to read often poses a challenge. Read, 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 read.
I think that most people don't read, period. I think that in the end, it's hard for a book to compete in a market with movies, television, you know, stuff that doesn't take that much attention.
No, we do read. We do read. But I think that a lot of times we don't read because we don't find the things that are interesting to us. So that's why it's important to have Latino writers.
By sharing their stories, today's new writers are not only filling a literary void, but are helping turn younger readers onto literature.
Yeah, I have stories where teachers would tell me, you know, they'll give out 2 poems to a class, and 1 poem might be a Robert Frost poem. Then they'll give them a poem that I wrote. Suddenly, it becomes real to them. The experience is so immediate that it doesn't take them that much work to say, oh, I get that, I understand that, I feel that.
One thing that makes me very excited about the book is how much it's encouraged young people to want to write, and how many people that come up and be like, yo, I read this and I can do it, and that to me is worth everything, you know?
In recent years, more and more Latinos are picking up paintbrushes, spray cans, and even the camera lens to capture images that chronicle their rich heritage, ultimately giving voice to a growing community.
Murals are more than public works of art. They're a powerful form of urban expression meant to inspire and educate as well as convey the stories of countless ethnic communities, though they haven't always been widely accepted. New York Mural Kings, the Tats Crew, are a successful group of artists who've been commissioned to paint murals by both major companies and leading hip-hop artists.
We started out doing subway graffiti in the 1980s, and we've been painting for over 21 years. I think a lot of the times when we paint, the work we do is influenced by the neighborhoods we grew up in. So the imagery you'll see or the characters you'll see are what we grew up watching or seeing. Like if you'll see,
all it is art. It's just us, you know, expressing ourselves. So there's no gang writing on the walls. This is just colors and expression.
The use of spray cans by modern-day muralists has its roots in the graffiti art movement of the 70s. Many young artists wrote their names in spray paint as a way to gain recognition. This evolved to more elaborate paintings on subway cars and walls.
If you look at the very beginning of graph, it started from the streets. It started from like inner cities, from ghettos. It's an art form from struggle.
It was a whole movement that was happening as we were growing up, and we just became part of it.
Muralism is hardly a new art form, and Latinos have played a leading role in the movement here in America, especially in areas like LA, which is considered the mural capital, with well over 1,000 public murals. Judith Baca is an art activist and one of the nation's top muralists.
There's a very long legacy of muralism in the Americas. And it goes back to 1100 AD in Bonampak, in the murals of Palenque. The images that come from this very early murals are Mayan images, and it is from that legacy that muralism has sprung, and also from the political activism of people who wrote on the streets in spray cans.
Yet some maintain that graffiti and muralism are 2 distinct art forms.
It's the same thing. I think it's just the tools that we use. They may use brushes and whatever, and we use spray cans, but the end result is basically the same. I mean, this wall that we have behind us basically describes what the whole movement of graffiti is. It consists of tags, throw-ups, and pieces. We threw all elements into it because that's how we wanted to teach the people around the neighborhood what graffiti is, since this place is the Graffiti Hall of Fame. But this would be considered, I guess, a mural.
Murals often speak to the issues and concerns of a particular community and help foster a sense of cultural pride. Still, muralism has not always been well received, many viewing the writing on the wall as vandalism rather than art. Publicly sponsored mural projects like LA's Spark program, founded by Judith Baca, have gone a long way in helping people gain new appreciation for public murals.
Where murals are an important form here. They've always been sort of an outlaw form as well, and really difficult to fund them, and Spark has been at the leadership of keeping that form alive here in Los Angeles. We have commissioned probably over 1,000 murals, and one of our murals is the Great Wall of Los Angeles, which is a half-a-mile long mural. It is a site which has told all the contributions made by various ethnic groups to the building of California and building of this country. In the sense, they're sites of public memory. They come out of the experiences of the communities.
Today, muralists are being commissioned by both private businesses and government agencies as mural art enjoys a newfound worldwide acceptance.
You got guys from Germany, Puerto Rico, Australia, Canada, wherever in the world, there's writers now all over.
It's become such a global accepted art form.
Young people are really engaged in their world, and they are painting about that in spray can art, and with very articulate and very beautiful figurative imagery.
James de la Vega. I'm 29 years old. I grew up in Spanish Harlem. I've been living here most of my life, and I'm basically an artist that works throughout the streets in New York City, and I got my own store up here uptown. Zorro is one of my favorite characters. Zorro's name was Diego de la Vega, so we have the same name. Diego was he was an artist, he was a philosopher, he was a thinker, he was a poet, and then Zorro was the freedom fighter. He was the one that went out into the world to fight against injustice in a very anonymous way. I just like the idea of being a contemporary superhero. Growing up in this neighborhood was a little awkward for me. I always felt like an outsider, you know, but I feel like this is home for me. So I really try to concentrate my efforts in this neighborhood and trying to bring to this neighborhood a sense of education and entertainment at the same time, you know, something that I can offer the people here, especially the young people. My mother's really been the major influence in this whole thing. If you look around, most of the paintings are of my mom. The stuff that I enjoy doing the most is the work on the sidewalks with chalk, because I'm able to reach a wider audience of people. I'm able to cover more ground. I also like the fact that it's very temporary, the fact that I'll do a drawing today, and tomorrow it might be gone or it might be faded. I prefer to build a legend, a mystique, rather than an icon that's recognizable. Because it doesn't matter what De La Vega looks like, that's so insignificant. But more importantly, what matters is the work that I produce and how it touches people and how it gets people to think.
I got into photography because I've always been a very visual person, and I was looking for a way to express myself. I wasn't always very good with words, so I turned to images instead.
She's the only Latina staff photographer at Newsday, and one of a few minority women making it in photojournalism.
I came across the work of a great documentary photographer, one of the greatest. His name is Sebastian Salgado, and his work just totally changed my life, the way, my perspective of things, of the world. I turned to photojournalism, to documentary photography, to try to express my feelings about how I felt about the world, about life.
Her need to tell the stories of immigrants just like her drove her to begin photographing Latinos in her community.
I felt very comfortable to going into their lives and becoming just part of their lives and telling their story. New York's still sometimes very hostile against the Latino community, and I thought through images that I could break boundaries and have people understand what the Latinos are like and just let them know a little bit more about ourselves and what we're made of. When you do this type of job, you usually feel like you need to do a little more. Like you can't just stand aside and witness. But you have to remember that your job, the way you're helping, is by taking these images and telling their story and letting the world know what is it that these people are going through. When I approach people to just try to photograph, they react in very different ways. A lot of people just open up to you, and a lot of people feel like you're invading their space. And that's kind of like a talent that you have. You're kind of born with it in a certain way, but you develop it, learn how to approach people, how to smile to them, and make them feel comfortable with the lens, with the camera, till the point where you forget that you're there. It's very important to just become invisible to these people that you're photographing so that they will act natural and truly be themselves. I think it's something that comes with time. You just don't start doing that overnight. It's taken me a lot of time to develop that kind of instinct where that special moment's gonna come. That one moment that's gonna be unforgettable.
Her ability to capture that special moment has gotten the attention of corporate America. Alejandra Villa is responsible for one of their most recent outdoor Coca-Cola campaigns in New York.
One of those images could touch a person's heart and make them change their mind about the Hispanic, the Latino, the immigrants. Then my job will be done.
Located in the heart of Chicago's Pilsen Little Village community lies the prestigious Mexican Fine Arts Center Museum.
The museum has been here for about 16 years in the Chicagoland area, and basically the museum was started by a group of teachers and social activists because they saw a deficit in the Chicago public school system. 25% of the children were of Mexican ancestry, yet a little bit of what was taught in the classroom actually had anything to do with these people's history.
Founded in 1982, it is the largest Mexican cultural arts center in the nation, offering visitors the opportunity to experience Mexican culture through its exclusive art collection and exhibits.
One of our permanent pieces in this exhibition is a retablo done with paper mache and gold leaf. The retablo, it's a way in which the Spanish were teaching the stories of particular saints or virgins to people who were illiterate, basically. Tierra y Libertad is 100 years of wars that Mexico went through in which their identity was formed. We have symbolized this revolution part by putting up images of Zapata, probably one of Mexico's greatest known heroes. He embodied the revolution and that he was an indigenous man who stood up for his rights. One of our most famous pieces on display right now is the painting by Jesus Helguera of the legend of El Popo. This image has been reproduced, whether it's on car hoods, whether it's in tattoos or restaurant menus, but the original one is here at the Mexican Fine Arts Center Museum.
The community-based institution is also the home to Radio Arte, a youth-operated urban community radio station.
The mission of the station is to train youth between 15 and 21 in the areas of radio communication. This is a free training program, and it runs for 2 years. Our station is a bilingual radio station, and our programming is quite eclectic. So we include a lot of Latin alternative.
Yo soy Ariana. La próxima semana estamos aquí otra vez de 7 a 8.
The people that listen to my show are mostly teenagers and early 20s. However, I do get calls from people that are, I don't know, I have this guy calling that's like maybe 50 years old.
What we do with the station is to make sure we tell kids that they can use this space as a forum to be a voice for their communities. You know, it's not only about the music, it's also about culture and general what we do.
Many of the large museums, the downtown sort of museums, have realized that Latinos are like a hot commodity, and they are now realizing that they should start collecting, and indeed they should have our artwork up in their museums as well, as long as it doesn't mean the demise of institutions such as this one, a community-based institution.
Located in trendy West Hollywood on Santa Monica Boulevard, the Latino Pop Shop is a unique store that sells everything from Mexican candy to toys to original Latino artwork. Inspired by the work of notable pop artists like Andy Warhol, this colorful shop serves to celebrate Latino pop culture.
It came about because I've taught art for 17 years, and I was teaching about the pop artists, and then the Latino kids were looking at me like, what happened to the enchiladas and the tacos and the burritos? I just want to incorporate the whole pop culture that exists in the United States that is Latin. A lot of the artists are either Latino, and if they're not Latino, then they do Latin images. I mean, we have novice people, and then we have established artists, and then we have artists that have pieces in the permanent collections at LA County Museum. In here in this shop, we educate people too about the artists, about Frida Kahlo, and all our stuff like the cards, the candles are all handmade by the artists, everything.
The religious influence throughout the store is undeniable, as evidenced by the numerous crosses and images of the Virgin Mary.
The art, for me, it's more symbolism. The Virgen, the miracles, our belief system, all of that is part of our culture and our history, and it's not so much a religion as it is like a spirituality.
And what would a Latino pop shop be without some popular staples?
And we sell a lot of piñatas and candy. Originally, I had a couple little baskets for looks. I had the menudo for looks. That's our like Campbell soup can. And it's been selling. Actually, it's funny because the shops around this place are starting to carry Latin products. People walk in every day and they're like, finally there's something. They love the shop. They love the fact that we have menudo next to handcrafted items, next to a $2,000 piece by Lorenzo Gomez or Hector Silva, these people whose stuff is in museums. And they love it. They're slowly learning about our culture through this shop, and it kind of makes me feel good.
It was Marty Cohen's love for tropical music that led him to create Latin Percussions. Known for making authentic Latin instruments, the company has become a favorite among the world's top Latin musicians.
Latin Percussions is regarded as the world's foremost leader of hand percussion instruments. Known for its superior quality and innovative design, LP was founded in 1964 by an avid photographer from the Bronx who had a passion for Latin music.
Well, I actually began LP as an excuse to take photographs because I needed subjects. I loved Latin music, and I really wasn't so keen on being a bystander. So I spent a lot of time photographing my idols like Mongo Santa Maria and Tito Puente and Patato. And somehow I wove them into my life when the opportunity presented itself to make instruments.
Marty wanted a set of bongos, but the Cuban embargo made it difficult to find percussion instruments in the States, so he made his own. Realizing there was a need for these type of instruments, he began to work with musicians in dance halls to design more durable and better quality instruments.
LP was not, as many people think, an overnight success. If I ever expected to make any money, I had to get out of the dance hall and get into the recording studio.
Marty met Bob Rosengarten, who was then the drummer for The Tonight Show.
First met Bob Rosengarten, who I was told was the man to see if I wanted to get into the recording studios and to the big arena. I said, Bob, what can I do to make some money? He says, make a jawbone that doesn't break. Because at the time, a jawbone was something that was very much a part of music. And it was the jawbone of a mule or cow or horse. And they would dry it out and the teeth would get loose in the sockets. So when they would hold the chin and hit the cheek, you would get a sound like this. However, the sound that you would get would be short-lived because they would break. So I went home, never having seen a jawbone. This was the invention.
Marty's modern-day version of the jawbone became the company's first patent. It was one of many LP innovations.
I did invent a cabasa that became also a standard of the world.
Marty's commitment from the beginning has been to combine authenticity of sound with strong modern design. He has consulted with Latin music greats to design superior instruments which bear their name and stamps of approval.
This product, the timbali, which has Tito Puente's name on it, been making it for a long time.
What began with a simple set of bongos has evolved into the most complete collection of percussion instruments available today.
People look at the penetration of LP around the world, and Caribbean Jazz Project was performing in Moscow. They wanted LP congas. They got LP congas, much to my surprise, but they had it there.
One man's love affair with Latin music has ultimately changed the face of percussion forever.
I embraced a culture that was very alien to my upbringing.
African culture is an important part of the Latino heritage. Nowhere is that more evident than in the Brazilian Capoeira. Born centuries ago among the slaves, it mixes martial arts with dance. Today, it has young Latinos exercising to the beat of a different drum.
Capoeira was used by slaves in Brazil as a fight against oppression. It was disguised through dance as a means of self-defense. The Brazilian sport has now moved to New York, where it's being offered in gyms all over the city, such as Crunch Fitness.
First time I went to class, got hooked.
Fell in love with it. It's very different from just a regular martial arts class because you have the music and the singing.
Professor André Guzmão is a 5-time champion of major capoeira competitions. He learned his skill under one of Brazil's top masters.
Tell us the different styles of capoeira.
Well, capoeira is divided in 2 styles. The first one is capoeira Angola. Is where everything starts. And in capoeira Angola, it's a little bit slowly. It's like a little bit more rhythm slowly. And the second one is capoeira regional. It's the one that we practice. It's fast. It's a lot of rhythm.
Aggressive. Does capoeira have a belt system like karate, for example?
Yeah, we don't have belts. We have cords.
What color do you have?
That's a blue cord.
So is this the highest one?
No. To get the highest one, I need more 10 years.
10 more years?
Yeah, it's a long way.
Okay, so I'm ready to try this. So you're gonna teach me some moves?
You ready?
I'm ready.
So you put your leg back, and same arm go all the way up here in the front of your face. Open your leg, step parallel, switch your arms. The other leg goes to the back, left leg back. Here we go.
I'm gonna fight here.
Come on, open, switch your arms back. See, that's the base of everything.
So music is a very important part of capoeira. Tell me about this instrument right here.
Okay, first of all, I think the music and the rhythm is what make the difference about capoeira and all other martial arts. This is the berimbau.
Berimbau. Okay.
All the rhythm, speed of the game, who is gonna play again, who is gonna start playing the game, is all controlled by this instrument here, the berimbau.
Okay, so the truth is I have been taking capoeira for 2 months and I'm totally hooked, proving that capoeira can move people just as much in the streets of Brazil as in gyms in New York.
Now we turn our attention to the kitchen, where some hot new chefs are whipping up something special, adding a modern twist to some traditional Latin favorites.
Situated on the edge of the historic King William district, Rosario's restaurant is a San Antonio institution that serves up some of the best Tex-Mex food in the city.
We're in Texas, so it's Tex-Mex. It's a lot of original recipes that we've put together, and also a lot of authentic interior Mexican flavors that I've picked up through my travels. Of course, we have the typical chile rellenos and enchiladas de queso, enchiladas de mole, enchiladas suizas, fajitas, un poquito de todo.
The restaurant's decor also has the distinct Mexican flavor, courtesy of Rosario's resident artist, Gilbert Duran.
The artist here that I feature in my restaurant is a very, very good friend, Gilbert Duran. He's been around for years and years, big artist here in Texas. I think he did a wonderful job. He's very, very talented. I get a lot of compliments.
Rosario's offers music and dancing, as well as some one-of-a-kind margaritas, which are a real crowd favorite.
One of our signature margaritas is called the tuna margarita. And what it is, it's we get the flor, the tuna, from the cactus, and we puree that, and we marinate that with tequila. And then we lace that over our frozen margarita.
And here we have one of Rosario's other specialty drinks called the michelada. It's made with ice, lime, Tabasco sauce, Worcestershire sauce, and your favorite Mexican beer.
It's no wonder Rosario's is such a popular stop for tourists and locals alike.
I recommend it's a tourist place. There's a lot of people out from out of town. I always tell people to come out here. It's great for the music, and if they want to have a good time, I think this place to be.
Rosario's is just an awesome San Antonio place to be. As far as I'm concerned, Rosario's is San Antonio. The Latin music, the wonderful mix of different margaritas. It's just a great place to hang out with your friends.
Rosario's is just one of the many great attractions offered in San Antonio. In the downtown area, you'll find the famed Riverwalk, where you could take a leisurely boat ride and take in all the sights and sounds of this colorful city. El Mercado is an authentic Mexican market that's home to a number of shops, including a chili shop where everything from candy, bulbs, even popcorn gets some added spice. And of course, there's the Alamo, the most famous spot in all of Texas. Rich in Latino history and tradition, San Antonio is a rare jewel with a charm all its own.
My name is Alex Garcia. I'm the chef at Calle Ocho restaurant on 81st and Columbus, and I was born in Cuba. One of my partners now, he went to the same school that I went to. We kind of like were connected without even knowing each other. We were looking for a name. We wanted to make an impact with the name. The name Calle Ocho came along because we both went to school in Florida, and in Calle Ocho, Miami, Florida, that's where all the Latin restaurants are. Not only Cubans, they're all Latin American. Babalu came about kind of like three good friends getting together. At Babalu, we do something a little bit different. It's a nightclub. The crowd is younger. They're willing to try more stuff. The crowd being kind of hip, being at a nightclub. And that's what shows in the food, you know, that kind of food. Latin ingredients, Latin root, a little bit New Yorker, but at the same time, 100% Latin. Nuevo Latino is the traditional recipes and the traditional Latin cooking presented on a modern way, using modern, what we would call requirements, what people want today. So they want a little bit lighter, they want a little bit prettier, using the techniques that we have, the French techniques that we have, with the food that we grew up with, and kind of like marrying them all together. So those three things meet at the end, and that's what Nuevo Latino is. Being a restaurateur, to me, is the most difficult task. You know, you gotta pay a lot of attention to detail. It's all about instant rewards. You have to be good right there, and then you got a couple minutes to do it and create a great impression. Once they come back, it's great. And it's fun, And you know, you're always as good as the team you're with. So it's a lot of people, it's a lot of minds. Calle Ocho, we have 20 cooks. Babalu, we got 8 cooks. So it's a lot of minds put together, a lot of experiences. All the same characteristics that I choose, they choose. One of the easiest and more rewarding dishes of Calle Ocho is the ceviche. Nice and simple, fresh seafood. In this case, we're using raw scallops, and we're gonna combine that with the salad that is made with some cherry tomatoes, some red onions, a little bit of cilantro. Also, just making sure there's a lot of quality in the product, nice and freshness. That's gonna go right on the middle of the dish. We have around 3 scallops that we have sliced and raw because we wanna cook it with this liquid that I have right here. This is called tomato water. And what we do with this, we take the tomatoes at night and we let them drain and get rid of all that natural flavor. We cut the tomatoes in half, we push them through a sieve, and then we let them drain in this cheesecloth overnight under the refrigerator. And we get this nice and clear water that we call it tomato water, and it has the same flavor and intensity of a tomato sauce. So to that we add a little bit of lime juice, a little bit of orange juice, and that's what we're gonna cook our raw scallop with. And pretty much what I wanna do is just pour a little bit right all over the dish, and then the acidity of the tomato and the lime juice is gonna cook the dish. Nice and simple. Beautiful, one of my favorite dishes from Calle Ocho.
Located on Downing Street in the West Village, Isla makes you feel like you're in Cuba in the early 50s. Isla is known for having a concept of having things that are all Latin.
Todo Latino. That's
Todo
correct.
Latino.
What we've done, we embraced the Latin culture. And in this instance, the Cuban culture, what it was in the 1950s, when it was explosive in Cuba, but not here in the United States. So we're bringing to New York City what Cuba was in the 1950s. And it's all Latino in that our drinks, we have mojitos, we have daiquiris that Hemingway used to drink at La Floridita.
So all things Latinos, you're basically incorporating everything.
Everything,
the
decor.
Food, the decor.
I feel like I'm in Havana.
Delicious food is not the only specialty. Isla is famous for its mojitos.
Why is it called mojito? What exactly does that mean?
Well, mojito comes from the word mojado, wet, and it quenches your thirst, so it was a nice, good, wet drink. First of all, you start off with sprigs of fresh mint, and then the juice of half a lime, approximately about a quarter cup. This is called muddling. So you muddle the mint in with the lime, and I kind of like spread it around the glass so that they're evenly distributed in the drink. Then we add simple syrup, which is sugar cooked down with water, about 2 tablespoons of that. Just top it off with crushed ice. I add my Bacardi.
Can't forget that.
About 2 ounces of Bacardi.
Okay.
And then top it off with a splash of club soda. Once again.
Wow, this is good.
We make, in addition to the classic, 4 different flavors. Take your pick.
We'll get a little taste of everything here. Why not? We have time. We got the guava in there.
That's the manguito.
We can do mango too.
That's the coco.
Add the mojito to the classic Cuban tradition to enjoy in New York.
From music and videos to traditional Latin American treats, you're bound to find it all at your local bodega. We sent special correspondent Casper Martinez to get the real stories behind these neighborhood grocery stores. Here's his report.
Over 30 years ago, Puerto Ricans eager to pursue the American dream saw small businesses such as bodegas as a way to achieving those goals.
What is a bodega? A bodega is a local grocery store, a one-stop shop in Latino neighborhoods.
Mercedes is one of the few Puerto Rican bodega owners left in her neighborhood here in the section of Manhattan called Spanish Harlem. Now, Mercedes, how long have you had this store?
I had this store in different place. This place here, 16 years, 15 across the street, about 40 years altogether.
Grocery stores back in the 70s were predominantly owned by Puerto Ricans.
The Dominicans started putting businesses. Now we have the Mexicans.
Can you tell us what your bodega offers?
A lot of candy, soap, but not rice and beans.
Whether you call them delis, supermarkets, groceries, or superettes, these bodegas all cater to Latinos' everyday needs. And I'm here with Ray, and I want to know a little more about this bodega that we're at. Ray, talk to me. You've been here how many years?
For like 14 years.
14 years?
Yep.
Now, this is a family business, right?
Yes, it is.
Ray's Bodega offers housewares, snacks, bobby pins, and my favorite, baby food. What is your hottest selling item in this grocery store?
It's very hard to tell because now we got phone car, this, sancocho, we got perico ripiao.
From cornflakes to electrical cords to tampons to Vaseline to motor oil, bodegas have it all. Vegetables, meat, canned goods, toys, even piñatas. The options are limitless. Mercedes offers warmth, friendly advice, and if you make it to the back of the bodega, there's always a party going on.
Copy, cool.
I see you got a New York lottery machine here, eh?
Oh, yeah, you know how it is. We have to look out.
Why do you think bodegas are Latino-owned business?
That is a way to become independent. You become your own boss.
Do you give a lot of credit out in this bodega?
Sometimes we do it, but we're trying to cut it out because sometimes people come here and ask for credit, and when they get money, they go somewhere else to buy it.
Ah, they forget to pay you. You see that? People take credit and then they move to another bodega. Regardless if bodegas are Puerto Rican, Dominican, or Mexican owned, bodegas are here to serve our community. Hey guys, I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something from our bodega experience, but honestly, I gotta get back to work.
Mira, corta media libra de jamón.
Está bien, está bien.
Thank you for joining us here at Urban Latino. We hope you have enjoyed our special look at the Urban Latino lifestyle. Hasta la próxima.